Okay, so again, a warm welcome. So, yes, the most anticipated segment of the day, the panel discussion. So, our panelists today bring a decade of experience when it comes to utilities, engineering, geospatial innovation, and of course, environmental solutions. It's my pleasure to welcome Poulomi Chakravarty, who is my co-host for the whole day, and of course, the creative editor for Mint. I request let's have an applause for her. Welcome to the stage. I would also request Dr. Shrikant Gabale to be on the stage. I would request Raut, Nikesh Regmi, Shailesh Deshpande, and Professor Anupama Kovi to be on the stage.
Welcome to our panel discussion, Beyond the Map, which basically is going to focus on integrating geospatial data for holistic decision making, specifically in the utilities sector. For many years, GIS has been viewed primarily as a mapping tool. But today, especially in the utilities and the EPC space, we really hope to change that. And we want to talk about how it is evolving into something far more powerful, a central intelligence system that brings together data from across the enterprise. We have an exceptional panel with us today to discuss how this shift is happening, what challenges lie ahead, and how AI and machine learning will accelerate the future of geospatial intelligence. So let me begin by welcoming our speakers. Our first panelist is Raut, who is the Associate Chief Manager, Wetland Management for Godrej & Boyce. Ninad, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for inviting me here. So good to interact. I've seen a lot of presentations. It was quite exciting. In terms of my brief introduction, I have around 20 years of experience in the domain of ecology and biodiversity. Completed my PhD from Forest Research Institute on the medicinal plants of Himalayas. I worked in NGOs like WWF, BNHS, consultancies like Terracon and then WSP, and now serving as a leading wetland management services to conserve the mangroves that across the Eastern Express Highway you see. So conserving those mangroves, doing research, collaborating with academic institutions, and then spreading the awareness and importance of the mangroves in the community. So that's briefly me.
Thank you so much, Ninad. Next we have Dr. Shrikant Gabale, Managing Director at Graphia Solutions, who sort of expertise lies in geospatial analytics. Could you tell us a little more about yourself, Shrikant?
Very good afternoon, all. Dr. Shrikant here. Actually, from last 14 years, I'm in geospatial domain. Earlier, I was working with Yashoda, it's a government institute, as a research officer. And then I work for you may know this software is a Map Info. And after that, we started our own entity. And especially, I'm trying to work on forest, urban utilities, even development plans, creations. I have expert in LiDAR drones and GPR, ground penetrating radar, especially as far as the utilities are concerned. And from the last 14 years, we work in a different sector also, like COVID mapping. You just had checked this, some of the applications. So we work for the Pune division, identification of the COVID patients. They're tracking the infection lines and everything. We work for the almost more than 6 development plans, and right now I'm working for the Environment Committee of the Maharashtra government. And we work for this, just like a Namami Ganga in Maharashtra, it's a Namami Chandrabhaga. So we're working on a Bhima restoration project for the state government things. So it's not about just a urban base, but water, forest, utility. These are the area where we are working from last 14 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shrikant. We're also joined by Nikesh Regmi from Burns and McDonnell, India. He's the Vice President for Transmission and Distribution. Could you tell us a little more about you, Nikesh?
Yeah, thank you everyone for this opportunity. Nikesh Regmi, I run our T&D global practice here in India. I've been with Burns Mac for 17 plus years. Most of my experience has been in the US. And I've wore multiple hats throughout my 17 years. Started as a fresh graduate out of school in 2008, working on oil and gas and transmission projects. After that, with series of different things that I did around my career, going out to the field. Before I moved here to India last year, I managed a large EPC project up in New York. That was a 5-year project, 54 miles of transmission across existing right-of-way, which was a big learning experience, which I'll talk later about. That where I realized how important GIS and knowing, what happens on site is critical on how we construct. So really excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Nikesh. And finally, we have Mr. Shailesh Deshpande, who is the Vice President for Environment Services.
Thank you, everybody. Glad to be here to introduce myself in the context of the seminar. So I grew up in Bangalore, then went to the US to study, then went to Houston from Oklahoma, came back to Bangalore, came to Mumbai, and back to Bangalore soon. So, and along this way, I did my master's in chemical and environmental engineering, worked for some time in the US in the environmental field, came back in Burns and Mac. I led the ENS team recently, and now have moved to Bangalore to lead the Bangalore office.
Thank you so much, Shailesh. And we also have Anupama Kovi with us, who is an associate professor at IIT Mumbai. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Anupama?
First of all, thank you so much to the Burns and Mac team for inviting me. I think I'm the only one on the panel who doesn't really have any true GIS background, but I do a lot of work in power system planning, energy management, and I see a lot of connect. And in my role as an educator, a technical evaluator, as well as a researcher in this space, I've looked at a lot of GIS applications. I've evaluated a lot of work where GIS has been used in the power system planning space or to make operations better, utility operations better. So I'm looking forward to the panel, basically.
So, Anupama, we'll take this opportunity to begin with you.
Sure, why not?
So, as someone who's shaping the next generation of sort of, geospatial, people who are going to go on to become professionals in this field, how do you see academic institutions bridging the gap between the theoretical GIS knowledge and the kind of real-world problem solving that we saw here today? How are you bridging the gap?
Okay, so that's a very, I think, it's a very interesting question. First of all, thank you for that. One of the challenges that any academic faces, especially in the classroom, is there's a certain sort of certain knowledge base we do want to transfer, but at the same time, we also we want to make our students ready to face the real world. And one of the ways we are trying this now at IIT Bombay is, in fact, to give them more projects that come from real world problems. I've recently just finished, in fact, today was the exam of the course I was doing with them. It's a course on energy data analytics. And this was a very new course we have introduced. It was the first run of the course. We exposed the students to a whole lot of real-world data. We made them, in fact, collect their own data from across campus, from various spaces in campus, and have them analyze this data with the intention that they learn the pains that that they have to endure when they have to work with raw data, when they have to in fact analyze raw data. And when it comes to geospatial information, for example, there's no going around it. It's coming, it's already available, and it would be they have to make the best use of these resources. And one way I think this could be very meaningfully done is if we, academic institutions, partner up with industries and try to create very good problems in a space where the students, it's just the right level of difficulty for the students to in fact deliver a solution, a meaningful solution. There are well-defined rubrics for what that delivery would mean. At the same time, it allows them to use the tools they are learning in school, and this has to require a whole lot of back and forth first between the academics as well as the industry professionals, because we can't just throw we can't throw problems at the students. They are used to structured problems. They are used to having, do X, do Y, and you arrive at Z. And so when it comes to real world problems, they have to be curated in a way where it's not too different from this do X, do Y, but at the same time, they have to have a little bit of pathfinding also, and it's not as straightforward as do X, do Y. And how do you sort of balance that? That's where the industry people and the academics have to work hand in hand to deliver something powerful and meaningful for the students. And I think that could go a long way in creating value education.
Great. And do you see any AI trends that students are picking up on in this geospatial space? Is it possible to come up with solutions using AI?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think the students know. You should get one of them here and ask them the question, because I can guarantee you that they are 10 times ahead of us. At this age, and with the kind of mammoth sort of behavior I have when it comes to new technology, I think I may not even be able to foresee the kind of things they are able to foresee, but they have ideas, they are brimming with ideas.
Sure.
In that space, for instance, throwing out hackathons or any sort of competitions also actually is another space where industry and academia can come together and again have curated competitions and have them really even pitch problems. Okay, this is a problem we want to solve, and then have a bunch of extremely, someone with a sort of a VC sort of mentality actually vet out these solutions and then figure out which are the ones that can in fact be mentored to a meaningful finish line.
Right.
That would be great.
Thank you so much, Anupama, for that. My next question is for Ninad. Ninad, your work uniquely bridges corporate sustainability, government policy, and on-the-ground ecological conservation. From your perspective, what unconventional data sources from biodiversity to community stakeholder input are you integrating? And how is this holistic approach working, if it's working?
So, first is, most of us are afraid of numbers. And, and what we like is the colorful maps.
Yes.
So, for me, to begin with GIS, it was the map that attracted towards GIS. So, as you said, but I'm also not very hardcore GIS person, but use GIS extensively for all the ecological aspects that I have covered till now, in terms of research, in terms of consultancy, in terms of giving solutions. And there exactly what we have, in my past experiences, how we have dealt with it is, any biodiversity index tool or say ecosystem services. So it is essentially to pick up the data which is already available, but probably it needs to be sieved in. So it's like there is no option for, at least in terms of ecology, there is no option for the ground truthing. But ultimately when you go, you get a limited time and the duration and maybe the other environmental factors which is limiting factor. So GIS provides you that additionalities which you haven't seen, and then come out with that comprehensive picture which helps us to provide the solutions, to provide the recommendations. Now also, extending that with the different aspects like social or community aspects, I guess that's what I was mentioning, that amazing work that was presented. I guess even from a lamppost or any public utilities that we can map around, the accessibility to the green areas or overlapping of the green areas. I guess biodiversity index tool talks about exactly the same, or the new trend of the 20-minute city or something. It essentially talks about what is there within your 20 minutes reach out. So to provide that kind of solutions, to provide that kind of answers to the questions that will come out from data, that will come out from the field, GIS works extensively in terms of the comprehensiveness. As long as we can connect the dots, as long as we can superimpose the data and give a very holistic picture to the audience. So that's something that we have worked. And in terms of sustainability, I guess it is also talking about, if we get into the root, sustainable development is nothing but what we are keeping for our next generation. So I guess what is that we are extracting, if we know, then only we will conserve for the next generation. So that's exactly what we are trying to do in terms of the data collection and providing through the maps.
To assess what we already have.
To assess what we already have and how it is going to be utilized. So it has every aspect, I guess. How we are using, how we are extracting, why we are extracting, when we are extracting, and all sorts of. So even if we want to cut down your scope 2 or scope 3, probably you can use GIS as extensive as possible.
That's a very different perspective I got today. Okay, my next question would be to Dr. Shrikant Gabale. Just to understand, let's take the idea of proactive decision making into consideration in the operational sphere. Okay, so Ninad just spoke about taking integrated data into consideration and creating a solution, right? Can you give us a specific real world example where integrating geospatial data with another core business system like asset management or ERP led to a smarter, faster operational decision that wouldn't have been possible without this, this approach?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Actually, we are working on two different technologies. One is the LiDAR and second one is the GPR, ground penetrating radar. And nowadays, this LiDAR technology has changed lots of things. It's not about just acquiring the data with the image format, but converting into the twin city model, like a point cloud data based on higher accuracy. Okay, now we are very used to with the accuracy. Earlier, we were totally depending on 30-meter resolution database, like LIS3 and all this satellite data availability. And now we are just concentrating on 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter database. Right. So here, now we are integrating this LiDAR into the BIM platform, BIM, Building Information Modeling, especially for the, again, twin city creation. This now here, see, is not about just geographers or any GIS experts who know this kind of technology. Now architects, civil engineers, other area backgrounds, experts, they are also using GIS in this particular situation. This is one example. Now there is another one integration. We already working on these things. That's why I'm given this example. Right. Now second technology is the GPR, ground penetrating radar. Now here no AI is involved. My dear friends, please listen this carefully. Please don't depend on AI 100%. We have to know the on-field knowledge. If you want to sustain long term, you have to know the on-field knowledge. Now for the GPR, till now, there is no AI involvement in entire word. You have to have the knowledge on field, how to identify utilities based on the existing hyperbolas, signatures, outputs. This is very interesting technology. Please try to learn. And just due to this redevelopment, twin city modeling, this kind of projects, happening regularly, especially for the large cities like Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Kolkata. Now here we are using this geospatial with normal DGPS instrument to identify and acquire these all GPR locations. So see, we started from the LiDAR data acquisition, connecting with the BAM, acquiring GPR data, and base data set is a DGPS data set, and integrating on your ERP softwares. Right. So ultimately, if you want to show this all database, you have the database system, or we can say a platform. This platform, anyone can right now create with the help of open source codes, even just like Easy platforms or open source like QGIS platforms and connected things. So now, how to use this data? This is also interesting. Most of the experts know how to analyze the data, but right now, who know how to use data? This is very, very important in nowadays. Especially from the madam came from IIT, and she teaching most of the things which is connected with the real life problems. But while connecting, actual working on site, you may understand the things which is not taught in our colleges. We never experienced this technology. Now is a time to experience this technology. And that's why you have to work on field without depending on AI also. Thank you.
There's some advice for the students here. So, Nikesh, we've spoken about benefits, but integration is not always easy. So, from your perspective, working with large-scale utility and EPC clients, what are the biggest technical or cultural hurdles that you come across while trying to create a deeply integrated data, where GIS is at the core and not at the periphery?
Well, I can give you a couple examples, and these are two projects that I've managed in kind of different time zone. One's pre-COVID, one's during the COVID, post-COVID, like when we talk about technology, there's so many different things that are out there, and if you're talking, pre-COVID. First big example was getting an alignment, right? What type of tools, what type of technology are we going to use, and how is that beneficial for everyone, not just one individual, right? We're mostly here engineers, scientists, and programmers, right? We are good at doing engineering. We're good at doing programming. And if you hire Burns and Mac, we're good at doing everything, right? So not that I'm telling everyone to hire Burns and Mac, but what it means is like we're so reliant on someone bringing everything together. But if we can get technology that gets the information when you're talking about large-scale utility projects, the first part of that is identifying the routing, right? Identifying what type of wetlands do we have, what type of natural habitat do we have or around those right-of-ways, goes to finding any utilities crossing that is going to be. Once we populate that information and that data can be somehow pulled into a system which helps us with bidding, so to get an accurate estimating, and then from that, when we design projects, how do we implement that in our design so that the engineers that are sitting in an office already have the information in front of them because of these technologies that we are using. So pre-COVID, a lot of these things were done in silos, right? And it was always hard for us to have engineers take information from someone, figure out how to extract that. Extracting was a big thing. And they were very hesitant on doing that. But what I've seen post-COVID is we figure out how we can move from one platform to another platform, having a common ground. And what that has done is, from the beginning till the construction is done, it has given us capability to know where all these utilities or all these obstruction are in field. And as we progress through construction, right, and construction, time is money. Knowing where we are at any aspect helps everyone makes the right, help everyone make the decision for tomorrow, right? So what I've seen across these projects was, the first one, we were taking information, extracting it out. By the time we had output, it was a week or two, right? Because we were dependent on people providing information. With the tool that we have now in place, we equip our construction coordinators to go in, be at a field, at a location, point that location, and put this foundation was put in today. This structure was installed today. So it gave us immediate information that we needed. And while we were constructing during the COVID timeframe, it was really helpful because a lot of us couldn't travel. We had to rely on people out there. And with the technology, we could just open it up in our desktop and see where we were with the construction. So definitely these are two aspects, but again, the alignment and top-down approach of making sure we use the right technology that moves across the aisle is key for sharing the information that we get. So definitely, for me, it's, time is money as you go on a construction project, and how easy can you make it for the people that are out there constructing the utility infrastructure will make sure how successful your projects are. So.
And sort of trying to, this is a successful example that you sort of gave out for the COVID situation. Okay, coming to Shailesh now. As AI and machine learning become more embedded in project execution, how will integration of automation and AI help enhance the geospatial data usage, especially in decision making?
So I think one of the advantages of being old is to see how far we have come in this field. So there was a time when on television all you heard in terms of a weather forecast was sunny and rainy, yes, and rainy and sunny.
Yes.
So, but the fact is that data has been collected for a lot of time on various topics, on various things, but in various formats,
right,
and in various softwares. So standardizing that and allowing that data to be accessible, trustworthy, and being able to talk to each other would be the first step to kind of get the best out of this AI options that are there.
Right.
So once we have done that, then I think we are at a point where automation can be integrated in various models. You could have a historic model which just talks about where we came from in terms, right, of contributing to both the projects and everything. There could be a prescriptive model where, based on the data that is there, you can say what has to be done and what is not to be done, like you were talking about just now for the housing and everything. Or there could even be a predictive model which tells us what to do next in some other place based on information that has been gathered and based on models that have been developed already. So, and to be able to do all this, we have to apply GIS on both parts. There is the cartographic aspect of it where you have to be able to develop maps that are dependable, that can be analyzed, and that in the end humans have to interpret and populate. And at the same time develop apps that will use these cartographic maps that have been developed to implement things. And when you combine the two, I think in the utility space that we are talking about, whether it is being able to assess where there is a stress on a system as to what is causing the problems, what might cause the problems. So you could go from historic to prescriptive to predictive on that. Right. You could do the same thing for risk. Where is the failure going to happen? What are we going to do about it? Right. And you can do the same thing about it. You could do optimization. right, based on that. And you could even just increase the value of the revenue by just finding out where the losses are happening. In a country like India, where significant losses happen in any transmission of any kind, some design, some non-design cases, it would be very useful to find out these things and then close these gaps, right? So there are applications of GIS, I think, surprisingly, is not really very high-tech, right? It is going to be used in mass development and this thing much, much more. And that is where I think automation is going to bring all this together and make it really accessible to
the masses.
Yes.
And before we close this really nice discussion, I'd like all of you to briefly give me a response to this question. In one line, what is the biggest shift utilities must embrace to fully realize GIS as an enterprise intelligence engine?
I would go back to what I said, realize that there has to be a lot of investment made in making the data that is present useful.
Right.
Without that, you can't build without foundation.
How about you, Nikesh?
As I said, time's money, but data is money moving forward, right? So how do you analyze the data, as Sai said, is very important. And knowing and I'm from the construction perspective, knowing everything before you have to design and when you go out for construction is going to make a successful project. So data is money moving forward, and it is coming big time.
Can I come back?
Yeah, sure. Dinad, what are your thoughts?
Maybe slightly distorted, but I would consider GIS as a seventh sense. So use your all five senses first. Sixth sense would be your experience, and then use your seventh sense for applicability.
Right. What about you?
You're supposed to convert your data into the decision-making and implementation-oriented output. This is very important. Only don't,
theorize.
Control on your data. Just implement it and take some results from this one, as far as the output orientation concerned.
Right. Thank you. Would you like to add something?
Yeah. I had a slightly controversial answer, so I just wanted to go at the end. I think utilities, and it's not a one-line answer. I apologize for that.
It's fine.
I think utilities still don't quite know how to value their data, and for that reason, they also are not very good at, in fact, curating data. They're not very good at storing data. They're not very good at even figuring out whether everything that the data could do for them is being done. I think that's the first mind shift that's going to happen.
Right.
You would be surprised at how many utilities come to us, give us our data and say, hey, solve a problem. And then I say that, you only gave me like 40% of the data you promised. And they're surprised. Oh, we gave it to this person and this was supposed to be, there's only going to be 3% data drop is what they promised us. And no, you actually only have 40% of the data you thought you had. And this is mind-boggling to me. How could you not know how much of your data loss is actually, you're paying somebody money to collect this data, and yet you don't know how much data they're actually giving to you, and how much of that data is meaningful. And unless that shift happens, where they really value the data, and they really understand, it's really simple how to figure out whether you're getting the right data. It's simple checks. That can also be AI-driven, need not be.
Right.
And unless they do those sanity checks and they value their data, we're not going to move forward. We're only going to be having solutions available, but we are not going to have takers for those solutions. Not true takers in the true sense. And so that's the shift that really needs to happen.
Anupama, thank you for leaving us with that thought. Thank you so much. So, thank you to all our panelists for your wonderful insights and giving us such a clear picture to where the future of GIS is headed. Thank you to our audience for joining us and listening to this conversation patiently. And we hope the ideas that were shared today inspire new conversations and innovations across your teams. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So if I can just...
Just hang on for a minute.
Yeah, if I can take the stage.
Yes.
I'll request Tapsi to please come on the stage and please present a token of appreciation. And we'll start with Poulomi first. Yes. Then can I request Tapsi to please facilitate Shrikant, Dr. Shrikant there. And can we have a round of applause? Yes. Yes. Followed by Ninad. Yes. Then can I request Shobit to please come on the stage? Yeah. So then, Tapsi, can I hand it over to then Anupama? Yeah. And then I'll request Shobit to please. Yes. Then I'll request Shobit to please hand it over to Nikesh. And of course, then Shailesh. Thank you so much, panelists. That was a wealth of information and a lot of thoughts. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Yeah, we can have a group picture then. Yep, Tapsi, please join in. Even Govind can join in. Shobit. So now this is closing remarks. Yeah. Please join in for a group photo. I'll help you with it. Yeah, I'll take care of it. Thank you so much, team. Thank you.